Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. We'll chant Om once together. Synchronize the chanting of Om with your exhalation. Breathe in. Sahana vavatu, sahanau bhunaktu, sahaviryam karavavahai, tejasvinavaditamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Gently open your eyes. We'll chant from verses 68 to 72 of chapter 2. Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
Tasmadhyasya mahabaho,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
nigrihitani sarvashah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
indriyanindriyarthebhyah,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
tasya prajna pratisthita,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
ya nisha sarvabhutanam,
tasyam jagati sanyami,
tasyam jagarti sanyami,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
yasyam jagrati bhutani,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
sa nisha pashyato muneः,
आपूर्यमाणमचल प्रतिष्ठम्,
आपूर्यमाणमचलप्रतिष्ठम्,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
समुद्रमापः प्रविशन्ति यद्वत्,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
तद्वत् कामायं प्रविशन्ति सर्वे,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
स शान्तिमाप्नोति न कामकामी,
विहाय कामान् यः सर्वान्,
विहाय कामान्यः सर्वान्,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
पुमांश्चरति निःस्पृहः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
निर्ममो निरहङ्कारः,
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति,
स शान्तिमधिगच्छति,
Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha
Esha Brahmi Sthiti Partha
Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati
Nainam Prapya Vimuhyati
Stitva Syamanta Kalepi
Stitva Syamantakaalepi
Brahma Nirvana Mrichati.
Brahma Nirvana Mrichati.
Hari Om, and a very good day to all of you. So we have been seeing the different facets of a Sthita Prajna, a person who is established in this wisdom. See, when we talk of being established in the wisdom or being established in anything, here the context is the highest wisdom, but this rule is applicable in any field. When can you say that you are truly established in something? Only when that particular action or that particular state becomes your first nature. It becomes natural to you, effortless to you. See, if your mind is running somewhere and you are pulling the mind back, that is not a stage of being established. You're no doubt a sincere sadhak, practicing self-control. The real establishment is when the mind does not run at all on its own. So wherever you need to put an effort, for example, I don't mean the external effort to achieve goals. I'm saying in terms of conquering your inner weaknesses. Wherever you need to put an effort in order to maintain something, it means you're not yet established in that. If you're putting any effort in trying to remove your stress and be peaceful, it's a wonderful thing, but you should understand that you're not yet established. Now, why this is so important is you should be on your guard till you get established. See, I have seen many sincere sadhaks who start off very well and then they move very fast in this path. But then somewhere down the line, the ego takes over, and before they get established, they pull down their guards. They think, yes, I have achieved mastery. I have conquered my mind. Now, that thought itself is a product of the ego. See, a person who has complete mastery over the mind will not get a sense of pride, a sense of superiority. Yes, I have mastered the mind. He is not going to say that. See, whatever comes naturally to you will not be an achievement as far as you are concerned. Actually, if you consider something as an achievement, it means you have a value for that. And you always have a value for what you don't have only. When you're not at a particular level, that is where you will have your, that is what you will value a lot. See, a person who has, let us say, 2-3 BMWs. Now, if you go and give him another BMW, he'll not have a value. If you have a value for BMW, I'm just giving BMW as an example. I mean, any object, when you have a value for it, it means you are at a level lower than that. You have to put in a lot of effort. We are not talking about what is right or what is wrong here. Remember, we are not talking about morality or ethics here. Because the moment we enter the sphere of ethics and morality, that is very, very intricate. It changes from place to place, changes from culture to culture. It varies from time to time. So we can't fix that. Here he is talking with reference to being peaceful. So if you are putting in a lot of effort to curb your mind, it means you are in the path. You should be very humble and keep doing your sadhana. That is why what these yogis are saying is, it doesn't matter what your level is. At any level, just be humble and keep doing your sadhana. Surrender to the higher Shakti, surrender to the Guru Shakti, and in a very humble way, keep doing your sadhana. If you have reached the highest, then none of these are applicable. But till then, you have to be very careful. Later on in one of the chapters, he'll be using the terminology Yoga Bhrashtaha. Yoga Bhrashtaha means one who has fallen from the state of yoga. Which means that person was in the state of yoga earlier and he has fallen from that. So when is the possibility of falling there? When you have not established. So when we talk of Sthita Prajna, a Sthita Prajna is one who will never fall. See, one of the names of Lord Vishnu is Achyuta, the one who has never fallen. So when you get attuned to that infinite power completely, when you merge with that, when you reach enlightenment, that supreme experience is what you are established in, then there is no question of falling. There is no question of any temptation. There is no question of any weakness. Nothing. It's like waking up from a dream. Now, once you have woken up from a dream, you will have no weakness with respect to that particular dream. So remember, one thing is to be in the dream and be advanced spiritually in the dream, but you're still a dreamer only. The other thing is completely waking up from that state and experiencing the fourth state of consciousness. Something like waking up from the dream and becoming a waker. So however spiritual you are in the dream, remember that you are still a dreamer. That is why the great Siddhas, they said, whatever you know is just like a drop, and what you don't know is like the ocean. So when he gives the example of Samudram, that word Samudram itself actually conveys a message of a warning that you should not succumb to your ego, because can you really fathom an ocean, the depth of an ocean? You can never fathom the depth of the ocean. So the very process of trying to understand the Sthita Prajna, if you do it properly using the yogic approach, is like trying to fathom the depth of the ocean. In that process, your ego will melt away. So the effect of study, of going into such depth into these verses should be humility and consistency in your sadhana. The more deep you go, you should become more humble, not merely in expressions. I'm saying from deep, deep within, truly becoming humble. See, just because you use the words of humility doesn't mean you are necessarily humble. You'll have to do some soul searching, you'll have to go within and find out. Because I know so many people who are highly egoistic inside, but they cover up that ego by putting on an act of humility. So we are not talking about that. So one is to be a Sthita Prajna, that is the highest. The other is the Kama Kami, who is at the lowest in the scale. And as you are moving, your ego will keep melting. You will become more and more humble, and it will give you more inspiration to do sadhana. See, the moment the ego takes over, you will stop doing your sadhana because you feel, now I have achieved everything. So you will stop your sadhana. When you stop your sadhana, that is where the danger is there. You can become a yoga brashta. You can fall from the state of yoga. That is why they say devotion to the Guru is so important in this path, because whenever the ego takes over, the Guru's energy becomes an antidote to the ego. Now, what is most interesting here is that when a sadhak faces this kind of a block, now what prevents the sadhak from surrendering to the Guru is the ego itself. But when the surrender happens, when the sadhak surrenders, he or she will find that the ego will get pulverized. It's like a catch-22 situation. This is one of the major obstacles you will face in this path which he is laying down, moving from a Kama Kami to a Sthita Prajna. So when a person is at the lowest level, Kama Kami, the ego is maximum. When a person is at the highest level, a Sthita Prajna, it is zero ego. So you are always placed somewhere in between. And when I say moving from Kama Kami to Sthita Prajna, it sounds very wonderful. But actually, when the moment you do sadhana and when you try to progress, what is going to be the effect? The effect is going to be the melting of ego, and the ego is not going to like that. So it will put various obstacles in your path, internal obstacles. And one of the obstacles which the ego puts to a sadhak is in trying to create an illusion, trying to trap the mind by making you feel that you have achieved the highest. In the scriptures, in the Puranic stories, they have beautifully depicted this concept. On one hand, they have depicted the avataras. On the other hand, avatars means realized beings. That is, who born realized, one who was manifested from the infinite in order to resurrect righteousness. On the other hand, they have also portrayed asuras and rakshasas, demons. Now, the most interesting part is in every Puranic story, you will find that the Rakshasa or Asura is a person who would have performed tapas, austerities. Whether you take Ravana, whether you take Hiranyakashipu, you take all these Asuric people or Rakshasas, you will find that they would have done a lot of tapas, which means they are also yogis only, but they are yoga brashtas. They have fallen from the state of yoga. Somewhere down the line, the ego took over and they stopped their sadhana. They said, yes, now I am the greatest. The moment they got into that feeling, then they started losing all the powers which they had acquired through their tapas. It's a question of time only. The path of destruction started for them. So, see, the asura or the demon is also within you only. The avatar, the Sita Prajna, is also within you. That is the egoless state, and this is the demonic state is a state of ego. So demon means you don't need to imagine some hell, somewhere where demons are sitting. It is not that. It is in your, it is a depiction of what is happening within you. When you are completely overpowered by ego, then you become a demon. These are tendencies within you. I have told you, whether we talk of gods or whether we talk of demons, they are all energies which are there within us. We are experiencing all this throughout our lives. So this is one very important thing as a sadhak which you should keep in mind, because in the coming verse he will be mentioning this. That is why I am just explaining it a little bit in this verse itself, so that it will be very easy for you when we make an in-depth analysis in verse number 71. So primarily when we talk of kamaha and ichcha and all that, what is the difference? I have explained to you the different dimensions. I'll give you one more practical tip and then we'll go to verse number 71. So whenever you seek something from the world in order to become happy, it is kamaha. You are not seeking there. The desire comes on its own. Whenever you are already happy and then you are seeking something in the world for functionality purposes, then that is ichcha. This is a simple rule using which you can find out whether you are caught up in kamaha or ichcha. Because when you are practically functioning in life, you will get this doubt. See, someone has sent a mail to me. What she has asked is, earlier I just used to go and freely enjoy things in life. Now that I have come to know about kamaha, ichcha, and then last week I was explaining to you about trishna, craving, because in the next verse he's going to talk about craving. Now when I got to know all this, Now it looks like I'm losing the capacity to enjoy things normally like how others are enjoying. Because the moment I'm seeking something now, I want something, now this question is popping in my head. Is this an ichcha or is this karma? Now what am I supposed to do? How to convert, if it is karma, how to convert it into ichcha? So many questions are coming. How do I function? This is her question. Yes, all these confusions will be there in the initial stages. As you go along, things will become more clear. So the simple, that's why I'm simplifying and giving you a very, very simple criteria with which you can determine. Whenever you are not in a state of peace or happiness and you are wanting something in order to become happy, then that is kama. You are not in control. That desire is controlling you. For example, due to the pandemic, there were so many lockdowns and so many restrictions were there. So many people, were unable to go out freely as they used to. Now that has caused a lot of frustration in the minds of many people. Now in that frustrated state, when you say I want to go on a holiday here, I want to go on a holiday there, that is stemming from a state of agitations. So even if you go for a holiday, you will not be able to enjoy there. See, because all your time will be wasted in offloading the pressure which has been built inside. I am only giving this as an example. That is why I told you, whether you talk of quarantine and all that, that is in all the medical terminology. But as far as you're concerned, your understanding should be getting into solitude. Okay, situation is like this now. There are so many restrictions. Now, let me accept the realities and be happy wherever I am. And then when the restrictions are taken out, let me enjoy that also. So if that is your attitude, then whatever you're having is ichcha. See, I'm giving you various tips, but only when you practice it, you will begin to understand the subtleties of it. So what I would suggest is, to that lady who was asked, now don't analyze so much when you're functioning in the world. See, this during the Sunday sessions, we are getting into an in-depth analysis, and the healing Shakti is also being given to you, so that your spiritual development is hastened. But when you practically function in life, now at every step, if you're going to stop and keep asking these questions, that will become like a block for you. This is what in management they call as analysis paralysis. So your analysis should help you function. So all along in life you have been functioning and you have somehow been managing. So you continue functioning. Side by side, as you gain this wisdom and when you keep doing your sadhana, you will find that slowly, as you move from a kama kami up the ladder of spirituality, all your kamaha will start getting refined and you will start getting more control. So where you need to really analyze is only in those areas which are very, very dangerous. That is, if you are addicted to something like alcohol or smoking, or it could be if you are highly short-tempered, or which borders on violence. So anything which is very dangerous and you're not in control there you may need to penetrate, analyze, so that you begin to understand what is happening and you will be able to gain mastery. But otherwise, in normal things in life, don't analyze so much whether it is kama, ichcha. Last week also somebody had asked this question, this wanting to watch the Sunday session, is that kamaha or icha? Now life will become too complicated if you do that. So appreciate these things, get inspired by these things as these principles are given, and you keep doing your sadhana. Automatically all the changes will happen, the refinement will come. Whenever something is very dangerous, you're addicted to something in a dangerous way, or you're uncontrollably craving in something which is very harmful to you, there definitely you need to stop yourself and apply these principles. Okay, so this is the path moving from a kama-kami to a sthita prajna. With this, we will move to the next verse, verse number 71. Vihaya kamanyas sarvan Pumamscharati nisprihah Nirmamo nirahankarah Sashantimadhigacchati Vihaya kaman yah sarvan. Vihaya kaman means having abandoned the desires. Yah sarvan. Sarvan means all the desires. That's what. See, I've already explained to you about kamaha, icha, trishna and all these things in the previous verse. With that background, you will be able to easily understand this. If you translate it in English, that person who having abandoned all desires, chances of misunderstanding is there. That is why we need to understand this in depth. So the word used is kaman, the uncontrolled desires, the desires which arise in your mind on their own with the idea, that is where you have the idea that if I get that, I'll be happy. So having abandoned all the kaman, all the desires, yah means whoever it is, that person, pumamscharati nisprihah. That person who moves about without craving. Nisprihah. See, sprihaha also means desires. Kamaha also means desires. But the emphasis is a little different. So we will be anyway seeing all these things in depth. So nisprihaha means no craving. So charati means moves about. So you should carefully observe here. He is using the word charati, which means a sthita prajna keeps functioning in the world. That is why he is using the word charati. But without any craving. Nisprihaha. And then he says, nirmamo nirahankaraha. Nirmamaha means without the sense of mindness, no possessiveness. This is an amazing verse, no? It's so inspiring just when you read it. Nirahankaraha means there is no ahamkar, there is no ego. That is what I started off with today. The ego is the major block. Now he says, this person has no possessiveness, no ego. He is a free person. Saha shantim adhigacchati. Such a person attains peace. He is established in the state of peace. So, I'm reading the translation again. That person who, having abandoned all desires, moves about without craving, without the sense of mindness, without ego, attains peace. So in the previous verse, he was talking about the internal state of a sthita prajna. Now in this verse, he is talking about what happens to a sthita prajna when he contacts the world. It is easy to say, I am peaceful when you are all alone. That itself is very difficult. Because when you are all alone only, whatever negativities which you have stored within yourself will start surfacing. But somehow, let us say you have managed to escape from the world and the worldly challenges, and that may give you a temporary sense of peace. But the moment you go and contact the world, when you take up responsibilities, when you start facing challenges, then you will lose your peace of mind. So that sort of a peace is what the yogis call as tamasic shanti, tamasic peace. That is not true peace. All your agitations may be pushed under the carpet temporarily, and you may feel a false sense of peace because you have not taken up any responsibilities. You're kind of escaping from all the challenges. So the real test is when you contact the world, charati. Charati means moving around. Now when you experience the various aspects of this world, at that time are you still able to maintain the state of peace? If yes, you are established in the wisdom. If no, you are not yet established. So he is first of all saying that person shantim saha shantim adhigacchati. He maintains that state of peace in spite of functioning in the world. So today I'll give you an overview of this verse, and then after that we'll go into the individual aspects, because so many sadhana tips are hidden in this verse. So first thing is, you see this verse from this angle, that is yaha, that person, whoever it is, charati means he is contacting the world, he is moving around, he is acting in the world, and then he says saha shantim adhigacchati, he attains peace, he is established in the peace. So the moment you see these three aspects in this verse, what is the message which you get? It is possible to act in the world and still be peaceful. See, today there is a concept that if you take up more responsibilities, if you are in action, now you will lose your peace of mind. The general concept about spirituality is misplaced. They think spirituality means you have to move away from action, because you think peace means it is against action. People always feel when you act, you can't be peaceful. If you have to be peaceful, you should stop your actions. Now, what these great masters are saying, that is ancient wisdom, this is what the ancient wisdom is all about, is that how to be peaceful when you are acting in the world. The entire the third chapter is devoted to this theme only. Now, why is this so important? See, if you take your sadhana right now, from your level, if you take your sadhana, how much time do you spend for your personal sadhana? 1 hour, maximum 2 hours. You may listen to Yoga Sankirtan, that is the sadhana which you're doing. Then you may do some yoga, you may have some kriyas, you may do some walking. Okay, so all that put together, let us say 1 to 2 hours maximum. Now the rest of the time you are going to function in the world. So it is not enough if you just focus on your personal sadhana and stop with that. That will build the inner powers, which are hidden, which are lying deep within you, no doubt. But it is also very important for you to learn the practical sadhana. When you are acting in the world, when you are interacting with people, when you are acquiring objects from the world, when you are going through the various experiences in your life, how should you act so that you move towards peace, so that you continue to remain peaceful? Whatever state of peace you have, that is maintained, and you also continue to progress in this path, the path from a kama kami to a sthita prajna. So in this verse, he is giving a kind of a gist. And in chapter 3, it is this verse which he'll be expanding. So that is why I said this verse is so deep, because the entire chapter 3 actually is contained in this verse. If you understand this verse, you don't need to study chapter 3. This doesn't mean now you don't attend those sessions when we come to chapter 3. I'm just saying this verse has so much of depth. So you spend a small amount of time for your personal sadhana. The remaining time you are interacting with the world. So you need to also learn the other aspect, which is the practical sadhana. So sadhana is of two types. One is when you are all alone by yourself, whatever you're doing. That is the Yoga Sankirtan and the other meditations also which have been given. The other type of sadhana is when you are functioning in the world. How should you function? Various principles are there. As you start picking up these principles and you start applying them in your life, you will find that the remaining time when you are contacting the world, you will continue in this path of self-transformation, the spiritual enlightenment. Otherwise, what will happen is you will do your personal sadhana diligently, but the rest of the time you will be dissipating all the energy which you would have acquired through your personal sadhana. It is like, if you're having a wound and you're applying some medicine every day on that to that wound. Now the application of the medicine is for a short time, but it is very important. The rest of the day, what are you doing? Supposing rest of the day you're scratching the wound. Even though you're applying the right medicine, the wound will not heal so easily. So verse number 70 is a message of personal sadhana. Verse number 71 is the practical sadhana. When you are interacting with the world, what should you do? This protects you. So that lifts your consciousness up. But it is very, very important that you don't do things in, you don't do opposite things which will spoil all the tapas or the personal sadhana which you are doing. So that is why that person attains peace even though he is acting in the world. So the first misconception which you are having today is that action is divorced from peace. So you need to get that off your mind. If you really want to absorb the energy behind this verse, you should get this concept straight. That is, action and peace are not opposite forces. When I say action, I mean any kind of action. Taking up more responsibilities in life, being in the thick and thin, of life. That is not opposite to a spiritual life. So many people tell me, sir, I am caught up in this rat race, I am caught up in the corporate life, or I am caught up in this samsara. It is only people who have not understood what true spirituality is who will talk like that. The mind is so convinced that you cannot be peaceful when you are acting. Now here he is saying it is the opposite. Peace is something which is internal and action is something which is external. So once you get established in the peace within you, thereafter, the action will no longer disturb your peace. It is possible. It is just some fine-tuning which is required. Certain principles, when followed diligently, will ensure that your internal state of peace will never get disturbed when you are acting in the world. So the very concept of spirituality today has really deteriorated. They think that you have to leave all your duties. That is why many people say, let me finish all my duties, then I will come to spirituality. For what? It is when you are acting in the world that you require this wisdom most. So Arjuna himself was under such an illusion. He wanted to get away from action because he says, I am totally disturbed. I want peace. So I will go away from action. So right now, you're placed in a particular situation in life. You will be having certain challenges in different areas of your life. It may be certain challenges in your workplace, certain challenges in your family. Now, the mind strongly believes that if these challenges are not there, I will be peaceful. And your mind will constantly be trying to find out some ways, some means by which you can escape those challenges. It could be that your boss is being rude to you. It could be that your spouse is being rude to you, or some other block in your career, whatever it is. You genuinely feel that if that challenge is removed from your life, you will be peaceful. Now, here in this verse, by using these words charati and sahashantim adhigacchati, that is, charati means acting in the world, shantim adhigacchati means he is very, very peaceful. By using these expressions, he is smashing that concept which is very deeply ingrained in your mind today. If I were to ask you, are you happy? You will, that is 100%. Are you happy? 100%. Are you peaceful? Now you will say no. And if I were to further ask you, probe, and ask, why is it that you are not peaceful? You will give me 2-3 things. You will say, this person is behaving like this with me, and some stress is there in office, this is there at home. If these things are not there, then I'll be peaceful. So you're strongly believing that these things are disturbing your peace. But he is now asking you to reverse this concept. Instead of these challenges affecting you, he says, if you practice these principles, if you practice this ancient wisdom, the internal state of peace will start affecting these external situations. You will start dictating your terms in life. This is what will make you truly powerful. When objects and situations are controlling your happiness, now you become a powerless person. When you are happy from inside and you influence the world, then you are a powerful person. You take successful people, you take the life of successful people. It's not that all of them, it's not that life was a bed of roses for all of them. Each and every one of them would have had so many challenges. It is in and through those struggles that they were able to achieve success. It is the same thing with peace also. So when we talk of a spiritual person, a sthita prajna and all that, immediately what comes to your mind is a person who has given up all the duties and who is just happily sitting, doing nothing. No, charati, very much active in the world. Some great masters may have chosen solitude, just like a scientist isolates himself to do certain experiments. So they are finding certain higher truths and giving it to the world. They are not shirking their duties. So in the name of spirituality, if you stop acting, then you can never be peaceful. Whenever you shirk your obligatory duties, that will come and haunt your mind. You will not be able to meditate peacefully. See, supposing there is some task which is unfinished. You would have experienced this. You are supposed to complete a task on that particular day, but due to laziness or something, you don't complete the task. And then in the night you go to sleep. You will find that you will be very restless. Whatever the unfinished task is will come and disturb your mind. It will not allow you to sleep peacefully. Now project that to your whole life. Whenever you have unresolved issues in life, incomplete tasks, then your soul can never rest in peace. You cannot be established in the state of peace. So it is very important for you to act and complete the unfinished tasks. Resolve the unresolved issues. The unresolved issues may be with respect to your family, your spouse or children or work or your friends. It could be any area. It doesn't matter. But even if there is one issue which is not resolved, that will ruin your peace of mind. So this verse is so important. It gives you the practical sadhana by which you can go about resolving all the unresolved issues. From where these unresolved issues have been accumulated not merely in this birth. So many births you have gone through, and you have accumulated so many impressions. See, a simple thing like someone comes and insults you and your mind gets disturbed. Now that person goes away, but the disturbance is there in your mind and it settles down as an impression in the deeper layers of your mind. It is an unresolved issue. You tried something in life and you met with failure. Now that becomes an impression. It is an unresolved issue. Now these unresolved issues, unfinished tasks ruin your peace of mind. It is a major block which everyone has. Now how do you tackle these unresolved issues? Not by escaping from action, but by getting into action, by facing those things which you are running away from today. There is a great thinker, he said, when he was asked, how do you conquer fear? He said, do the thing which you fear most. It's a beautiful statement. It's the same principle only which he is referring to. It is not applicable only with respect to fear. It is applicable in all aspects of life. Whatever you are running away from today, now you need to learn to handle those issues. It is very easy to keep talking about a Sthita Prajna, be like an ocean, samudram and all that. But in that process, see, all that should give you the inner strength in order to face the challenges of life. In that process, if you try to escape from the challenges of life, and if you say that I'm going to sit and meditate, it will not work. Remember that. So, charati, yaha charati means whoever is acting, saha shantim adhigacchati, is established in the peace. So at the outset, remove this misconception from your mind. Whatever experiences which you are going through in life today, whatever situation you are in, that is required for you to move to the next level. That is best suited for your self-development. Whatever challenges you are facing today, those are the challenges which are actually going to be the stepping stones for you to move to the next level. If you avoid those challenges, you can never grow spiritually. You need to learn to handle them. So spirituality is not based on the principle of escapism. Arjuna wanted to escape from the situation. Your mind always wants to escape from the various challenges. Many a times people say, too much of stress is there. I'll take up sannyas. Sannyas means renunciation. I'll go to the Himalayas, they say. See, with all these issues in the mind, if you go to the Himalayas, whatever little peace is left there, you will spoil that peace also. But just by changing your place, how are you going to become peaceful from within? It is your mind which is happy or not happy. So unless you transform your mind from within, you will never be able to achieve peace. So now we'll go into the specific aspects. First of all, he uses this, yaha saha. It's very interesting. In this portion of Sthita Prajna, he has used this phrase yaha saha, yasya tasya many times. Yaha means whoever, saha means that person. Now there is a specific purpose. Why is he using this yaha saha combination so many times? When he is explaining the Sthita Prajna concept. The reason is, people think that enlightenment is achievable only by very few selected select persons. Now he wants to smash that concept by saying yaha, whoever it may be, saha, if he does these things, he will be a sthita prajna. What he's trying to do is, he's trying to break those limitations which you are experiencing at the mental level. See, you have infinite potential within you, but all that is dormant today. Why? Because of the various limitations which you have imposed within yourself. Your beliefs are so strongly controlling you that you are unable to tap the infinite powers from within you. You know, I have read this story when I was young, where a cub lost its way, a tiger, the small tiger, and it was brought up by the various, it was brought up by a deer, and it kept mingling with all those deer, and slowly the tiger considered itself as a deer. It was very meek, and it never felt so powerful, and whenever it saw another tiger, it became so frightened, like how the deer were all frightened. So one day another tiger came for hunting, and it started chasing some deer, and this tiger ran away in fear. So the other tiger which came for hunting was very surprised. So it called this tiger out and said, "Why are you afraid of me? Come with me, let us hunt." This tiger was so frightened, and the hunting tiger was unable to make this tiger understand its true potential. Then what it did was, it just pulled this tiger and took it to a pond and said, "Now look into that pond." So the tiger looked there. "Look at yourself. Can you see that we both are tigers? There is no necessity for you to be afraid." This tiger was unable to believe it, because right from young age, it was thinking that it is a deer, and suddenly now this wisdom was given. It said, "My God, I am a tiger. I have so much of potential within me, yet I was living in fear all the time." The moment that realization came, all the limitations went away. So all along, right from beginning, the tiger was a tiger only, but it was strongly believing that it was a deer. Those limiting beliefs never allowed the true potential to come out from within. It was always riddled with fear. Similarly, you are that infinite self, but you have self-imposed limitations. You are thinking you're a finite person. Not only are you thinking you're a finite person, you are firmly established in the belief that enlightenment is meant only for certain select people. Whenever we talk of an enlightened person, you will name some master, but you can never conceive yourself as a sthita prajna. In the last verse, I had given you one way, by placing a kama kami and sthita prajna in the same scale, one in the beginning and one in the end, so that if you had reflected on that concept, that would have helped you a lot in overcoming these limited beliefs. Now, if you absorb the energy behind this phrase, yaha and saha, you can come out of these limitations completely. What is he saying? Yaha. Yaha means anyone, whoever it may be. that person can achieve the highest, can become enlightened. It has nothing to do with your birth, your caste, your religion. All these things are external. There are only two things which are required for you to become a Sthita Prajna. Number one, sincerity in your bhavana. You should have that sincerity. You should not be manipulative. See, when you go to a guru, you should never be manipulative. Manipulation means trying to hide your weaknesses. Anyway, the guru can see through. If he is a true guru, then why unnecessarily try to manipulate? And the second quality which is required is you should be willing to put in all the efforts. If the guru says do this, you should go and do it with all the enthusiasm. Not say, oh, I will do it tomorrow, I have forgotten. Then the progress will not be there. So these are the only two things which are required. But your belief is that enlightenment is for certain people who are naturally divine. See, when we talk of great saints like Ramana Maharishi or Ramakrishna Paramahamsa or Buddha or Krishna, now that is all believable to you. But if I were to give some very common names and say these people can also be enlightened, you will not believe that. And then if I were to tell you, you can also be enlightened, you will simply say yes externally, but deep within you, you don't have that belief. Now, understand this phrase. He's not using it once. So many times we've been seeing in this Sthita Prajna. Yaha, whoever does that, saha, that person is a Sthita Prajna. Tasya Prajna Pratishtita. He went on saying that. So absorb this energy of Yaha and Saha. In other words, what is as a sadhak, what is a sadhana message? You have infinite potential within you, and today your beliefs are only limiting you. The tiger didn't need to do anything in order to become a tiger. The tiger was already a tiger, but it was believing that it is a deer. So you actually don't need to do anything to become the infinite. You are already the infinite. But you're so strongly convinced. The Maya, the illusory power is so strong, the Maya Shakti is so strong that you are believing that you are not infinite. You are believing that you are finite, you are a limited individual. So it is by getting exposed to these thoughts where the master is saying, Yaha Saha, it doesn't matter who you are. If you do these things, you can also achieve enlightenment by slowly absorbing that energy, that you can come out of these limiting beliefs. Otherwise, you may go on studying the scriptures, but in spite of all your efforts, you will still be wherever you are. Unless and until you use these tips to come out of your limiting beliefs, you cannot grow spiritually. So when the other tiger asked this tiger to look in the pond, look at your own image, that is the very process of awakening, which is what we are doing every Sunday in the empowerment courses, going deep into yourself. It's like, looking at the pond and looking at yourself. Slowly, the awakening process will happen. So be very sincere in your bhavana. Don't try to manipulate See, the moment you try to manipulate, see, what do I mean by manipulation? Whenever you're justifying your weaknesses, it means you've gotten into manipulation. You're manipulating and giving reasons to say why you're having those weaknesses, that's not going to help you. It will get you further established in those limitations. And be very, very sincere in your efforts. Be very dynamic. Do the sadhana diligently. These two qualities will help you to move from a kama kami to a sthita prajna. The rest, the Guru is constantly providing. When you associate yourself with the Guru, when you surrender, so many inputs are being given. But you just need to develop these two qualities in order to practice and benefit. So that person, vihaya kaman sarvan, who having abandoned all desires, means I told you, the kamaha means when you think that that object will make me happy, and when you're rushing in order to acquire that object, that is kamaha. So abandoning all desires means converting the kamaha into ichcha. So you may still pursue the same object, but not with the idea of becoming happy. You are already in a state of happiness. I am just giving an overview of this verse today. Then we'll go into full specifics. So having abandoned the kamaha means having abandoned the idea that if I get this, I'll be happy. If this situation changes, I'll be happy. So you always say that in life. Why are you not happy today? Because this is wrong, this is wrong, this is there. If only all these things are there, just 2-3 things you will have. If these things are set right, then I'll be happy. But the moment you set those 2-3 things right, you will have another 2-3 things. It's very interesting. Your entire life gets wasted in trying to find this happiness outside. So he is not saying now don't acquire things from the world. He is saying don't acquire it with the idea of becoming happy. If you want to be happy, it is right now. Because it is an internal phenomenon. It is by transforming yourself through sadhana that you can be happy. But the moment you say, I want to get this and then I'll be happy, you will never be happy. So abandoning all the kamaha means abandoning this thought that if I get this, I'll be happy. I'll explain more as we go along. And then moves about without craving, nispriha. Beautiful word, Spriha means going gaga over something, completely losing yourself in the process of acquiring an object. He says that should be dropped. Drop your craving. In the previous verse itself, I have built the base for you. Don't allow the kama to become trishna. Your desire should not become craving. So moving about, charati, means functioning in the world, doing all your duties, but without that sense of craving. And then nirmamaha, no possessiveness. You may actually possess so many things in life, but never get into a feeling of possessiveness. Because the simple logic is, you are actually not the true owner of anything. You came alone into this world, and when you go from this world, again you will not be taking anything. So that sense of mindness, possessiveness, actually destroys your peace of mind. Whenever you are very possessive about something or possessive about a person also, now you will be very agitated. That is why he says nirmamaha. And then nirahankaraha, no ego. Ego is the major obstacle in the spiritual path. It comes in various forms, But if you are successful in overcoming the ego and all its manifestations, then saha shantim adhigacchati. He attains peace. He remains in the state of peace. He is firmly established in that state of peace. So what you do today is, after you reflect on all the points, when you get some time in the evening, you just casually read this translation. That person who having abandoned all desires, vihaya sarvan kaman. So the moment you read that, you will immediately relate it to the happiness factor, wanting something in order to become happy, and then moves about without craving, without the sense of mindness and ego. He attains peace. Just read the translation and close your eyes for a few minutes and feel the energy of this verse. I want you to do this sadhana today. It's even for 5 minutes if you do, it's more than enough. Next week, when we go into more and more depth into each and every aspect of this verse, you will find that it will transport you to a different level altogether. Will you do that sadhana? A very simple sadhana I am giving you. It will prepare you so much to absorb the deeper imports of this verse. Okay? So now we'll do the meditation. Relax completely. Sit in a relaxed position. Gently close your eyes. Do deep breathing. With every breath, I am getting into a state of deep relaxation. With every breath, I'm going deep into myself. Beyond my body, beyond my emotions, beyond my thoughts, lies the infinite supreme self. I have the potential to merge with the infinite self and become a sthita prajna. From this moment onwards, I choose to be very sincere in my bhavana, attitude. I choose to put in all the efforts required to evolve spiritually. I surrender to the higher Guru Shakti and request to bless me with the inner strength to come out of the various limiting beliefs which are stored deep within me. I am Swayam Prakashit, self-illuminating. Offer your gratitude to God Supreme. Offer your gratitude to your Guru and all the holy masters. Slowly come back. Wriggle your fingers, your toes, rub your palms together to create a warmth. Cup your eyes with your palms. Gently rub your eyes, cheeks, forehead, top of the head, back of the head and neck. Slowly open your eyes. Welcome back. It's a very powerful session which we had today. Unless the various belief systems which you are carrying deep within you, which are actually limiting your infinite potential, unless they are removed, it is not possible to understand this verse in depth. That is why in today's meditation I had installed a little bit of those principles, initiated the process of bringing that intention to come out of those limiting beliefs. As you keep doing your sadhana, and as we go deep into this verse, it is going to cause a lot of changes within you. And not only that, you will also become very much prepared to absorb the messages in the 3rd chapter. So it all starts with working on your belief systems. Your own beliefs are actually limiting you. You are like the tiger, believing that it is very meek, and it was so much afraid, no? So you need to bring out that wisdom from within. Okay? So tomorrow we are having the 22nd session of the Prana Tattva, level 1. I'll be answering all the questions which you've asked, and we'll also be having the special meditation. The healing will be given to balance all the energy, the blast of energy which you've received for 21 days, to balance all the forces within you. And then you can continue with your regular sadhana. It is very important that you keep preparing yourself in order to receive further and further higher grace. Okay? So thank you very much. We'll meet in the next session. Hari Om.